Hi everybody, welcome to Quarantine Movie Club. Today we're going to review this week's assignment of Brother Bear. So we'll start with addressing the 5 kind of like focus questions that I had. The first one is, why does Sitka's sacrifice, or how does Sitka's sacrifice really reflect him living by his totem? So we find out in the movie that he is the eagle of guidance, and I actually looked up the technical definition of guidance. We all know what guidance means, but what does it really mean by definition? So guidance is giving advice to solve a problem. So being the eagle of guidance, how does his sacrifice of, his life, like he sacrifices his life when he fights the bear with Kenai, how is that showing Kenai how to solve a problem? How is that advice on how to solve a problem? Well, it's just showing Kenai that sometimes you have to give a piece of yourself, like, to solve a problem, to save others, to save yourself, to save everybody. Like, sometimes it involves giving a little bit of yourself for the sake of others, which is definitely what Kenai needs to learn. So we're gonna skip ahead to that, like a further question. Why is he turned into a bear? We know that's the totem he received, but why do the great spirits assign the bear of love to him? What does he need to know about love? I think it's exactly what I just said. He needs to learn to yes, love everybody, but really to consider other people besides himself. I think he struggles with that most of all in the movie. He's very, not selfish, but very self-centered. So like all of his issues, he thinks that they come first. Koda's issues, not so much. Everybody else's, not so much. He worries about himself. So I think he needs to learn to just openly accept other people and their problems and their, lifestyles and stuff. So he needs to learn to love in general. Okay, the next question was, why do Koda and Kenai have so much in common? So one of those answers is quite obvious. They're both missing something. For Koda, it's not very apparent yet, because he doesn't realize that his mom is either dead or very much hurt or never going to show up again or whatever. He doesn't realize that till later, but he's missing a big piece of his life. Kenai is missing a very big piece of his life. And we also notice that Kenai and Sitka and Tanahi's parents are not in the movie. They're not in the story. So that's one question that I kind of had while watching. Does Kenai have his parents still? We don't know. But Koda and Kenai are both grieving their losses in a really weird way. Another thing they have in common is Koda has never had a brother. He mentions that a few times in the movie. And Kenai has 2 brothers, so he knows how to be a bigger brother. He knows how to be a brother, but not how to be a bigger brother. He's the youngest out of all 3. And Koda just knows how to be cared for. So they're both the baby in a weird way, and one knows brothers and one doesn't, so they kind of make a weird combination and make perfect brothers in a strange way. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's go to, is Kenai a hero? Okay, I'm thinking back to what we said about Odysseus and how we did our hero projects. Does Kenai go through trials and tribulations? Yes. Does he have a sidekick? Yes. Is there a goal or a motivation? Absolutely. He has to get to the magic mountain to break the curse to get turned back into a human. Is there like a hero's welcome when he returns back to his community? Absolutely. In the very end, when he puts his paw print on the wall of leadership or whatever it was. Okay, so he's, I would say, definitely a hero. Maybe an unconventional one at the beginning because he's so whiny and meh, but he's definitely a hero. Okay, and then the biggest question, the one that I am most concerned about, is what is the theme or like the overall main idea of the movie? So I found 3 because I'm an overachiever. So number 1, they mention this in the first few minutes of the movie. Love is not only part of being a man, because he says, I don't want to be about love. I want something manly. But love is not only about being a man, it's about being a person. So everyone has to love. We all love something or someone at some point. So loving is part of the human existence, or whatever, nature's existence. The second one I find is sometimes we have to lose something to appreciate what we have. And there's one part of the movie when Kenai mentions that his brother had died, and Coda kind of makes it a more positive thing, and he says, well, thanks, Sitka, because if you wouldn't have died, I would have never met Kenai. So like he looks at it as kind of a positive thing for himself, and that's a interesting, I think it kind of for a split second changes Kenai's opinion or his perspective on that. The last theme I found was brotherhood is not bound by love, and we see that with Coda and Kenai. We see that with all the bears at the salmon run. They're kind of all together all the time, just like family. So, okay, we will move on to our kind of focus idea for this movie, and that was character development. Once again, character development is how a character kind of changes from the beginning to the middle to the end, and how they evolve. Do they stay the same at the very end, or are they a completely different person by the time everything happens to them and it's all over with? And the answer to that is yes, he definitely changes. Kenai, our main character, changes literally, metaphorically, all ways. Yes, he changes. So I kind of made some notes while I was watching. Fun fact, his name does mean black bear. How creative. Alright, so Kenai, before, there's a lot of pressure to be like his brothers, to have like a strong totem to fit into the community. He does mess up when he's tying up the fish, and I think he felt a lot of pressure there because it was like a really simple job and he still messed it up, so he felt really bad. But he felt like he had to prove himself after that incident, definitely. So he ironically battles a bear right after that, but yet he is the bear of love. So I think that's very, very cool that he just received his totem of the bear that he does not like, and then he fights the bear. So is he kind of fighting himself in that situation? Like, is he kind of like metaphorically battling this other side of him that he doesn't want to accept? I don't know. Let me see. So he's very, I think a word that I use to describe him would be vengeful. He's very vengeful. He's looking for revenge on the great spirits, on his brothers, on the people that blamed him for the fish, whatever. He's very vengeful. He believes that love has nothing to do with being a man, quote the theme, and he goes to find the bear that killed his brother. And Kenai's literal transformation, where he's turned literally into a bear, we start to see the connection that the earth has to the spirit world and the humans to animals. So I think that's the first time in the whole movie that Kenai's like, there is something bigger. It's not just me and a bear. It's the whole planet as one together. So in the middle of the story, we meet Coda, or he meets Coda, and he's still angry at his brother. He's still angry at his situation, and he's still very stubborn when he meets Coda trying to get out of the trap. But Coda is very clever, kind of quirky and funny, so kind of maybe tries to lighten up Kenai a little bit, but it doesn't quite work. He's annoyed with Coda. He tries to ditch them, but then he realizes that by helping Coda, he can break the curse. He's still not genuinely into helping Coda, though. It's still kind of like a selfish sort of motivation to get to the salmon run and to the magical mountain stuff. It's all for himself. He said he wants none of that cuddly bear stuff from Coda, so he's still very distant. He doesn't want any, hold on, let me go let my dog out. Yeah, he doesn't want any like intimacy or brotherly love from Coda at this point. He's just on it for the trip. So further into the trip, through a little montage during the song, we see Coda exposing Kenai to the life of nature and how to live as a bear. Kenai even starts to have fun. I mean, he shows him the ways of the land, how to live like a bear, not a human, all these fun things you can do, whatever. So Kenai starts to like lighten up a little bit. So there's the change. He's lightening up. So due to Coda and his environment and learning more, being exposed to more, he's changing. Then he starts to emotionally connect with Coda. Kenai also begins to see humans in a whole new light, while his own brother is tracking them down, because so now he thinks that Kenai is the bear that killed Kenai, if that makes sense. I mean, if you watch the movie, you're good. But he understands why animals cower and finds it harder to understand how people can ruthlessly kill. So he's now in the perspective of the animal, and he's just kind of finding it difficult to understand why people just kill for fun. Like how, you know, he kind of understands the value of any life, not just human life. He realizes in the end, this is the end, this is kind of the endish part, he realizes that he attacked Koda's mom. He starts putting it all together when Koda tells his story at the salmon run, and kind of the major guilt sets in. It's really bad. He sees the place where the light touches the earth, but chooses to stay with Koda. There's the genuine love. That's when we shift from like, oh, I'm using him to get to what I need, to I should do the bigger thing. That is when he takes that guidance from Sitka's sacrifice. He has to give something from himself to benefit others or another person. That's awesome. So his big change is really there. Then Kenai tells Koda what he did to his mom because he feels like he owes him that. And I kind of struggle. I don't know if I would have personally told him. I don't know, but it would eventually ate me up knowing that he was waiting for his mom and his mom never came back. So Kenai does the bigger thing, and he does tell Koda what happened. He still does want to take care of Koda. He would give anything to take it back. He's finally vulnerable and open and loving and very gentle and so accepting and a much better person than he was when we first met him. I mean, definitely. He needed to learn to love in order to be changed back. So as soon as he did make that sacrifice, as soon as he did kind of open up, that's when he changed back into a person. That's when everything literally changed, like reversed itself and changed. Let me see. Even after he's changed back, he does still want to take care of Koda, even as a bear. So that's awesome. Let's see. Then he's decided that he should stay a bear. Why do you think? I don't know. Would you have? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Let me see. Maybe he felt like a closer connection to the earth, to himself, the spirits, his brother. I don't know. I don't know. I think that was a really cool decision, though. Really cool ending. So, we'll talk about 2 words right now that I didn't introduce in the beginning of this, but I'll just talk about real quick. So we have 2 different kinds of characters. We have a static character and we have a dynamic character. A dynamic character is one that changes throughout the story. So for example, Kenai is dynamic. He changes. He starts one way in the beginning and he ends another way in the end. Dynamic. Static means they stay the same throughout the whole story. So I would say Koda is a static character because, you know, emotion is not character change. So Koda's kind of fun and playful in the beginning, even though he's sad and kind of like angry at Kenai in the middle. It's not a change of his character. He doesn't like become a different person. He's just emotionally hurt. In the end, he's still pretty playful and still the same kind of person. So I definitely say he's static. The Moose Brothers, they're static. They're very flat characters. They don't really do much. They're just there for comic relief, which we kind of talked about earlier this year too. They're static, stay the same. I even think you could call Sitka a static character. Denahi was dynamic because he kind of changed. He was peaceful and trying to keep the peace, and then I think that when he lost Kenai, or thought he lost Kenai, then something really flipped in him, and then he changed to be a different person trying to hunt down the bear. So think about those 2 words too. Okay, our next movie will release shortly. We'll be focusing, I think, on mood and atmosphere in the next one, so not so much characters. There's not going to be a lot of dialogue in the next movie, so it will really be relying on your looking at visuals, how the characters look, how the background is, all this. So keep an eye out for that new video on Monday on our next movie assignment. I hope you really enjoyed this week's lesson on Brother Bear. I hope you can kind of watch movies in a new light now. I'll be keeping these up every week till the end of the school year, maybe into the summer if we're really bored. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm out. Happy Friday!